Namaste. Oh, I am so glad to be with you. And especially, I want to welcome those of you who are first time visitors, listeners, viewers of the Live, Love, Engage podcast. I really want to welcome you. And also, any of you who are regular subscribers. Absolutely grateful for you. And for those of you who are new and don't know who I am, if you missed the intro for some reason, or you're watching this on YouTube and there is no intro, I am Gloria Grace, spiritual business coach, helping entrepreneurs leverage their intuition to break through revenue ceilings and achieve sustainable business growth. And today's episode is about the huge topic that is taking not only the marketing world by storm, business world by storm, but the world by storm. And we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, AI, as a tool for success. And I know that we're going to be covering not only the benefits, but also some of the concerns and fears that you may have. And I know I did initially when I first started hearing more and more about this, and especially the big one lately that's been out there is Chat GPT. And we're going to get into all that in a moment. I've been learning a lot about it recently. I've been delving in, experimenting, and I can tell you right off the bat that even though I do have concerns about it, it's also turning out to be a wonderful tool, and I encourage you to give it a try. So let's start with the basics for those of you who aren't quite sure what exactly I'm talking about. What is AI, artificial intelligence? Well, it's a concept that's actually been around since the 1950s, the last century. And at that time, it was defined as a machine's ability to perform a task that would have previously required human intelligence. Now, today's AI systems might actually demonstrate some traits of human intelligence, including learning, problem solving, perception, and even a limited spectrum of creativity and social intelligence. And for this podcast, what I'm really going to focus on more about is talking about AI in terms of tools that it has the ability to, the tools that we can use as spiritual entrepreneurs to help our business, to be able to use our business. You know, there's been things already that's been out there for years, chat bots, which if you're on social media at all, you're probably familiar with it, and people have been using it. Um, they crop up in like Messenger on Facebook, and that can be annoying at times. And I also can see it from the flip side of the benefit side, because it's also can be a time saver, so that you don't necessarily have to be on Facebook all the time. You can set something up, you can set a chat bot up that will respond for you. And in fact, full disclosure, I have that on my Facebook page. I've got it set up so that when someone contacts me, as often it will be maybe someone on the other side of the world, and they're going to be contacting me when I'm asleep, at least they get a response. So that's some of the things that are important about the benefits of having things like that. But in particular, I really want to talk about some of these AI tools, in particular, Chat GPT, which even my husband knows about. And so he's not really the most technologically savvy person. Of course, a lot of what he gets, he reads the Wall Street Journal and hears all the gloom and doom about AI is taking over the world, and they're going to be taking over humans, and we're going to lose the earth to robots or whatever. But that aside, what I love about some of the things that are beneficial about ChatGPT is this allows you to have conversations. You can ask it questions and it will answer you. And it's really great at helping you with tasks like composing emails, or also sorts of things to be able to, and well, here, let me give you an idea of what I use ChatGPT for. I love using it to help me come up with ideas for, well, frankly, for this podcast. Again, full disclosure, to help me come up with topics for the podcast. So I will one of the things that you can do is you can actually use it to help you get some clarity about who your audience is. What are their fears? What are their hopes and dreams? And then you can ask it to say, okay, what would be some topics that my audience would be interested in? And so it's really great for that, and then it can help you to even streamline those titles and come up with better ones, or help you come up with ones that will fit a blog article. So you can say, "I want it to be no more than 60 characters," and then it will shorten it. So it's really can help you. So again, the benefits of AI, and Chat GPT is just one. I'm gonna share a couple other tools that I've used as well, but really can help you with efficiency and productivity. And I mentioned chat bots, that helps with customer service, but for clarity and idea generation, I think it's the bomb, I have to tell you. I really do think it is so great. It saves you so much time because, and I'm a copywriter, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna skip around a little bit because I'm gonna talk about some of the fears and things that people have about it. And I know I've been seeing posts on Facebook from copywriters who are really concerned that they're gonna lose their job to AI. And I can certainly understand that because some people do. You can have Chat GPT, for instance, write an email that then you could send out to your audience, your list. You can have it create landing pages for your website, all sorts of things. Here's the deal though, and this is something I'm going to come back to probably over and over again today. As good a tool as Chat GPT is, and I was on a webinar a while back where someone talked about this analogy, is you need to think of it as a virtual assistant. And if you had a real virtual assistant, a human being, you would give them tasks to do, but then you would also check their work, and you would make sure that what they give you is accurate, is factual, is good. There's no other way to put it. Well, the same thing with ChatGPT is also it's been finding things off of the internet, and that's what it uses to be able to come up with ideas. And it's only as good as the people who've input information into the web. So, as we all know, I'm sure you probably know, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet, a lot of not clear facts, and actually, ChatGPT, people will tell you, will even hallucinate and just make stuff up. And oh, case in point, I asked it one time to tell me who I am, so I put like my name, who is Gloria Grace Rand? And it came back with this biography of myself that was about 80% accurate, but some other stuff it just totally missed the mark on. So you have to check it. So this is my first caveat here is to, if you want to use it to help you to write emails or to write landing pages or even write books. I've seen some people talking about that. You want to be very careful about this because, number one, people can tell that it's machine written. That's the word I'm looking for. Some people can really start to tell. And where it's great for ideas, what I recommend you do is to then go in and tweak it, to edit it, to take some of what they've got. Some of the language might be okay, but then, or maybe the concepts are good, but it's just not in your voice. and you want to be able to have whatever content you're using, whatever content you're getting from Chat GPT, for instance, and there are many other tools. This is only one example, but there are tons of AI tools out there to help you write copy. You want to put this into your own voice, because if you are using this as a way to attract clients, for instance, when if you, let's say you do something and you use Chat GPT, the verbiage exactly the way it is, and then someone decides to invest in you, in whatever your service is, and then they start to engage with you and they talk to you, they start to realize that, she's not using the same language that she used when she was writing. And in fact, it's way different. So I'm just going to say, let's say it was way casual, whereas the post that you took from ChatGPT, that content was very professional sounding, let's say. And so there's this disconnect. Now, again, there are tools out there that can help you make it really conversational. You can even ask it to write in the voice of so and so. You can have it write songs and things like that. But while it sounds nice and it is a great way to save time, it shouldn't be a replacement for you and your voice, your unique voice. So this is where some of the people have some concerns about it, because frankly, ethical concerns and the real concerns about having it replace you, especially like copywriters and things like that, or even graphic designers, because there are AI tools that help you to create images. And they're very good. They seem extremely lifelike, and yet I've seen some people post it and I'll be like, it's almost too perfect. It's like, I bet you this was AI designed, because it's just a little too perfect. So that's why, I again, it's take it with a grain of salt. You want to use these tools for your benefit, but don't rely on them totally, number one, and use them for idea generation. It's great. And use it as a time-saving tool, because it is a lot easier to have it come up with a list of 10 blog titles, and then you can look through them and say, okay, which ones do I like the best? Or maybe I want this part, part of number one to go with part of number five. I want to combine them together and make a new title that then will speak to my audience. I want to share a couple other ones that I found to be very useful, other AI tools. Because again, you can go on Google about ChatGPT. There are all sorts of people who are holding classes on how to use it. Some are free, some are paid. I've done both, and they're very helpful. And because it's really the key to using it is it's only as good as the prompt that you use. You have to ask it really good questions. The better questions you ask, the better results you're going to get. But I want to share with you a couple other tools that I found. One, now talk about time saving. If you are someone who finds that you do a lot of repetitive writing, I mean, the same message over and over again, for instance, whether that's a connection request, let's say on LinkedIn, or maybe you send the same email or something to someone, or to a group of people. Get Magical, or Magical, I guess is the name of the app, actually, is a very cool, it's a extension for Chrome. They may have it on for other browsers, but I use Google Chrome, so I have it as an extension. And what it allows me to do is create lots of different shortcuts. And I created one the other day, which saved me a ton of time. In doing this podcast. So, for instance, there is a template that I have of different items in each podcast episode that I put. So, if those of you who have ever looked at the show notes, you may see a certain format. I'll have where the video goes. I'll have the list of what the specific things we're talking about in these episode and things like that. Well, I've had the good fortune of recording a bunch of different interviews with people over the last couple of months, and so these episodes will be coming up in the future. And I had the great idea of setting up the posts for them in on my website in WordPress, and so that all I'll need to do is go back in later and add in the actual details once I've edited those episodes. So I did a whole bunch of them and I used Get Magical to help me just plop in all of this information as opposed to copying and pasting it, which I could have done, but it's really so much easier. So I'll have the link to that as well as Chat GPT in the show notes. So if you want to go in and take a look at it, I'm going to give a plug also for another tool that uses AI that helps me with this podcast, and that is something called Capshow. And what they do is so great. I upload the audio of my podcast, or sometimes the video too. And what they will do is they will generate a transcript, but even better than that, because there's other services that'll do that for you, which I've used in the past. But they will also generate a blog post. They will generate social media posts and and emails as well. Now, again, there are limitations to it. I have to go in and tweak it a bit because, again, they do the best they can. They're always improving, and this company is really great. They've only been around for, I think, less than a year, and they really listen to their users and they make changes based on that. And I will have to go in still, even with some of the stuff, and still tweak it and make it sound like it's really coming from me. But I'm not having to start from scratch. That's the big point, is that it helps because you don't have to start from scratch. So I'll put a link to Capshow. So if you're listening and you have your own podcast or you know somebody who does, then you can share it with them. And again, full disclosure, it is an affiliate link. So if you do wind up, they do have a free trial, but if you wind up subscribing to their service and investing in it, I will get a small amount of money. I'm sure it's not much. It's $1 or $2, most likely. So, but I just want to be upfront about that, and I'll let you know that, and I will mention that in the show notes. So let's see what other points. I've got some notes here, so I just want to make sure. Well, some of the other we talked a little bit about some of the fears, and I know. Let me go back in and say one of the things that I was a little nervous about at the beginning was putting in my content to chat GPT and having it create something. So as an example, I've written a book, it's right behind me there. For those of you watching, it's called Live, Love, Engage. And I could have uploaded part of that book to Chat GPT and then asked it to maybe create a summary for it or create some blog posts around it or create some social media posts. But I don't want to do that because that all that content will then be available to every other user of ChatGPT. And at the same time, as I'm saying this, I'm also thinking, well, it's out there, it's on Amazon. Anybody can get this information anyway and still use it. So again, it's like I go back and forth. And I know that's probably some of the same concerns you've probably had as well. How much do I input it? So what I would say is learn about it. Attend a class. Again, Google or check with your network. See of the people you know. Does anybody recommend a class on it? Even ask your friends and coworkers or employees. Ask them what has been their experience and find out and then test it out for yourself, because that's really the only way that you're going to be able to decide whether this is a good tool. Any of these tools are good for you. But I will tell you that it's not going away. It's not going away. So you might as well get on board a little bit. Dip your toe in the water and start using it a little bit, because it's not going anywhere. And if you can use it right now to be able to help your business grow, to help yourself to be more efficient, to be more productive, to help you come up with ideas, then why not take use of it? And I will say that the other thing I would recommend you do is to still, no matter what, rely on your intuition, rely on your instinct, and ask for wisdom and guidance from source, from God, your higher power, with any of the things that you do in your business, but particularly when it comes to using AI and using any of these tools that I've talked about today. Because ultimately, what you put out there, you want it to be a reflection of you. You want it to be a reflection. You want to be able to have it represent who you are to your audience, and be honest about it. And by that, I mean, again, use these tools to help you, and still infuse it with your own voice, your own slang, let's say, that you use, and just craft it so that people see the authentic you. That's so much important. And again, ask your higher self and say, "Hey, what do you think, God? Is this, am I doing the right thing here? Is this the best that I can put forward?" And see what answers you get. And with that in mind, for those of you who are regular listeners of this, you know that I always like to share some wisdom related to this topic. And for those of you, this is your first time, what I love to do is I love to share the daily word from Unity. And they have such a wealth of information. And this is a perfect example of the reading I'm going to share with you today is about using technology, but also knowing when to ask for help, ask for guidance from your higher self. So this is, I searched technology and came up with, actually, this word is divine wisdom. And this is from October 20th, 2007. And the affirmation is, one with divine mind, I receive wisdom and inspiration. And then the reading says, in this age of technology, I always have a wealth of information at my fingertips. Whether I'm researching a special project, helping a child with homework, or seeking information for myself or another, my resources are varied and wide. When seeking an answer to a question of the heart, however, I need to rely on more than information. I seek divine wisdom. One with a divine mind, I immerse myself in prayer. The answers may not be immediate, but they come as I need them and when I need them. The spiritual wisdom I gain through prayer is my infallible resource for daily living. So I keep my heart open to receive wisdom and inspiration. And then there's a scripture reading. They always include this, and this is from Job 36:4. For truly my words are not false. One who is perfect in knowledge is with you. So again, like I said, be prepared to double check things that you say, especially when you're using ChatGPT, because it may not necessarily be accurate. So fact check. But the one that you know who is perfect, the one person or the one entity that you can trust is your higher power, is to trust your intuition. And the more you do that, then that is going to really guide you in using these tools for the betterment of your business, for the betterment of your clients, for the betterment of the world. So that's what I encourage you to do. Now, one last thing before we close out this episode that I want to share with you today is something that I share every episode when I do the solo episodes like this, is something called light language. And for those of you who maybe this is your first experience listening or watching to Live, Love, Engage, or maybe you just have never heard of light language, I'll just share with you a little bit of what it is and then demonstrate it for you. So I have been blessed with the ability to channel messages from higher realms. And it is a message that speaks to your heart, speaks to your soul, not necessarily something that you can actually translate with your brain, but just know that it is a wonderful healing modality. And it's also great at helping you to start to tune into your intuition. If you haven't been doing it as much as you would like to, it really helps to open that channel with your higher self and to allow guidance to come through. So I am setting the intention today that the message that comes through for you with this light language will be one that will help you in establishing that connection. And I ask, if you are listening to this podcast and you are somewhere where you're busy doing something, multitasking, which is a myth, by the way. But if you're trying to do something, I would encourage you to pause this, come back to it where you can actually just sit and listen, preferably with your eyes closed, and just allow the sounds to wash over you and to touch your heart and soul, and know that what you are receiving is truly for your highest good. All right. Koya na kutse koya, kayo no kuya siatu, atsi koya usehane, auya koya no, oho koya useyate, osakanya no ku, asikaya tusham, ahoya kohu, koya huya toto, esikoya, ahonya koya hu, manya no chichoto hu, manyo hu koya, koya huya to sachiyano, Akiyato, akoyoshimyoto, akoyetayato. Thank you for listening today and for watching. I am so grateful for all of you who are been, whether you're a longtime listener or first time, I'm really grateful for you. And I would like to encourage you as well that if you have any questions about AI, or if you have any questions about light language or any of that, I encourage you to go to engagewithgloria.com. That's ENGAGEWITHGLORIA.com. And when you go to that, you'll be taken right to my calendar and you can schedule an appointment, free consultation. I'm there to answer questions. I would love to be able to talk with you. So again, that's engagewithgloria.com. And I believe, I think I've covered everything that I want to cover today. If you have any questions, comments, if you're on social media, please put it in the comments. You can always Email me as well. You can email me at Gloria at gloriarand.com. And I would love to hear from you. So, absolutely. So, without further ado, we've come to the end of the show. And so, until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.